stepmom pushed me down the stairs, then threw me a party. My mom died from cancer when I was 13, and my dad remarried way too fast. Linda seemed perfect at first with her Pinterest boards and organic meal plans. She'd post these long captions about being blessed to have a bonus daughter while my dad worked night shifts at the hospital. But the second his car left the driveway, she'd make me scrub the baseboards until my knees bruised. She'd stand over me critiquing every stroke and comparing me to her biological daughter Chloe, who visited on weekends. The night everything changed started like any other. Dad had just left for his shift, and Linda appeared in my doorway saying, "Time for your chores." I told her I had a huge test the next day and asked to do extra on Saturday instead. Her face went completely still. Then she smiled. "Of course, dear. You need your rest." I should have known something was wrong, but I was just proud of myself for finally setting a boundary. I texted my best friend Sarah about standing up to Linda and went to bed feeling hopeful. I woke up at the bottom of our stairs with paramedics shining lights in my eyes. Linda was sobbing dramatically, telling anyone who'd listen how she'd found me. She must have been sleepwalking, she kept saying. She's been so depressed since her mother died. I tried to tell them I never sleepwalk, but everyone just exchanged these knowing looks. At the hospital, Linda pulled the doctor aside, and I heard her mention my previous attempts at self-harm, which was a complete lie. But she showed him these scratches on my arms from her cat, and suddenly I was the troubled teen who threw herself down the stairs for attention. The fall messed up my back bad. I developed scoliosis and this constant pain that made it hard to focus. Linda used it as an excuse to isolate me from everyone. She'd cancel my doctor appointment saying I was being dramatic. She told my dad the pain was all in my head from grief. He believed her because he was never home to see me crying from muscle spasms. For my 18th birthday, Linda announced she was throwing me a huge healing celebration. She hired a professional photographer and made this whole slideshow about my journey. She invited all our relatives and gave this speech about how hard it's been caring for me through my difficulties. Everyone applauded while I sat there in pain, realizing this was all calculated. I went into her office for some space. That's when I found the papers on her desk about becoming my medical proxy. There were also letters from my maternal grandmother that Linda had been hiding. My grandma had been trying to get custody, but Linda convinced my dad she was toxic. Everything clicked into place. Linda needed everyone to see her as the devoted stepmother in case I ever tried to report her. While the party went on upstairs, I snuck into the basement where mom's things were stored. Hidden in an old paint box, I found her journal. One entry made my blood run cold. "If anything happens to me, protect our daughter from those who would use her pain for their gain." There was also information about a trust fund mom set up that Linda had been hiding. At the bottom was a business card from mom's lawyer. I recorded Linda on my phone telling Chloe, "Once I'm her medical proxy, we can finally access everything." Then I texted the lawyer from Sarah's phone and sent her all the evidence I'd gathered over the years. The next hour was a blur. The lawyer showed up at the party with my grandmother and two police officers. Linda tried to play innocent, but they had warrants. Turns out she'd done this before to her first husband. As they led her away in handcuffs, my dad finally broke down and apologized for not believing me. I moved in with my grandmother that night. For the first time in years, I felt safe. She got me proper medical treatment, and slowly the pain became manageable. I started college and even made new friends who didn't know my story. 6 months later, I was studying in my dorm when my dad called. His voice was shaking. Linda made bail and disappeared. Her lawyer can't reach her. I asked what this had to do with me. He said, "She called asking weird questions about your recovery, about your doctors and physical therapy schedule." My stomach dropped. Full story on channel, linked below.